14 years later, and that big reveal at the end of this story still gives me chills. Welcome to the Time Treadmill. I'm Ron, and these are my sweaty thoughts about Doctor Who. When Derek Jacobi was announced as being in the cast of an episode of Doctor Who, I thought that was a really nice nod to him. He played the voice of the Master in Scream of the Shalka, basically what amounted to the 40th anniversary special. A flash animation story that I watched, a couple of months ago. And so to give him his chance to actually appear in the TV show itself was very nice. And by the way, David Tennant appeared as an uncredited voice in that same animated production. So this episode was a reunion for the two of them working together again on Doctor Who. And it's worth noting that not only have David Tennant and Derek Jacobi worked together on Doctor Who twice now, but they have both played the role of Hamlet on the London stage. Jacobi way back in, I want to say 1960, quite a while ago, and David Tennant just a few years after he left the role of the Doctor. But it never occurred to me at the time that Jacobi would be playing the role of the Master. I mean, it's been very clear since the series was brought back that the Doctor is the last of the Time Lords. There are none left. They were all wiped out in the Great Time War. Except, of course, they weren't. And I vividly remember the jaw-dropping moment 14 years ago when I watched this episode and it came to the climax of the story and the Watch appeared. And it became clear that Human Nature, Family of Blood was not just a properly good story on its own merits, but was actually planting the seed for the entire season finale, because clearly the character of Professor Yana was actually a Time Lord transformed by the Chameleon Arch and in disguise. And at that point, there really can only be one Time Lord it might be. I mean, they could have pulled the Ronnie out of their hats. They could have invented some other random Time Lord. But clearly, it was going to be the Master. And it was absolutely chilling, that moment, when the former Professor Yana looks at Chanto and makes her call him Master. And it was nice of them to give Derek Jacobi the opportunity to speak that signature line before transforming into John Sim. And that regeneration inside the TARDIS was amazing. And John Sim as the Master, spectacular. At this point, I only knew him from Life on Mars, which is a phenomenal show, and you should go watch it if you haven't. But John Sim is so good in the role. And he's only here for a minute or two at the end of this story, but he makes his mark immediately. This is just such a good story, and Russell T Davies did an amazing job planting all of the seeds and doing this slow reveal. He was so smart in the way he brought back this show and making it accessible to brand new viewers in the modern era and not anchoring it to all of the classic era weight of canon, and yet slowly doling out new bits, bringing back classic things, the Daleks and the Cybermen. And now here we are with the Series 3 finale and the Master, and it's glorious. Oh, this is just the most amazing time period to be watching this show, and I love every minute of it. Tomorrow, we get John Sim properly in the role of the Master for the first time, and it's a little bit different. I also have an interesting story about the big bad guys in it. So come back tomorrow and I'll tell you all about it. I'll see you tomorrow.